Hey, it's Ashy. Today I have Wall,
Hello.
and I also have Dez.
Fuck the fish.
This is how we go. This is how this starts.
So, today we are going to be adding a bunch of aquatics to this tier list. We are going to be a little nicer to them because most of them would just go in F tier because of their inflexibility. You know, because only having
That's
a
the
swim
video,
speed
people.
and breathing water kind of limits where you can be.
There's the video, people. You heard it here right away. They mostly belong in F.
There's also this case of I didn't even bother going through and finding the average of stats because I was going through and a lot of the stats are not great for a lot of these. But some of them have some pretty cool abilities shoved in there. So,
I'm just looking at that anglerfish and it's like, yeah, he's got no neck. Where does the amulet even go?
oh yeah, that's probably worth mentioning. A lot of these boyos suffer from the item slottage of being a fish.
You know where the amulet goes? It goes to the shopkeep, and then you use that money to buy yourself something, like a better animal companion.
Yeah.
Damn.
I
Damn.
got nothing for that. Ouch.
Bro.
So,
Why am I the voice of positivity in this video?
I don't know. With the fish hate out of the way, the anglerfish. Swim speed 40. Probably decent. Natural armor's not very good. It starts at +1, goes up to like 3 natural armor later. The attack's actually kind of spooky, starting at a D8 with a grab. And we have this ability off the rip called Lure. So it states that this lure here shines light as though we're a candle. There's a little bit more to the lure ability though.
Alright, let's
Posting it there
push
for
it.
you guys. So, essentially, the lure is a charisma scaling DC. Looking at the charisma, that's not great. It's a fascinated effect. It lasts for a round. And creatures that are fascinated don't view the anglerfish as a threat until it attacks.
I want to pause something here.
Yeah?
You know this dual mind that's on this giant one?
Yes.
Is this dual mind here because of all the males fused to it? By any
Probably
chance?
yes. I would assume so.
Why have they put so much thought into the biology of this creature and gone, we're gonna give it an ability based on the amount of sexually mature males that have just sort of blurbed into its fucking hull? And yet there's other things that we have just screamed at for being so biologically wrong. Why this? Why does this get the funny details?
Well,
The fish needed it to
wasn't-
try to be good.
I wasn't even going to talk about it because the animal companion doesn't get dual mind,
It should.
which is really disappointing.
In fact, the animal companion should have everything that's on here because these are just inherent to anglerfish. It's nothing to do with it being giant.
I know, it would make sense.
It could just be because yours is not has not been sexually matured yet, and
Yeah,
all of
maybe
that.
yours is just a virgin.
it's considered that you got it as a pup and raised it from there and kept it far away from you're responsible and spayed and neutered your pet.
Ugh.
Hey, look,
Oh.
Okay, look, if a player has an anglerfish, it's a female. It has to be. Because the males don't grow to anglerfish size. The males are little vestigial fucking living penises.
Yeah.
So it's always a female. Now, if you, as a druid, went, oh, if I got this some boyfriends that melded into it, and I got advantage on will saves, a notoriously weak save on most animal companions, I go dunk that thing in the deepest, briniest deep with, I don't know, a nice bed, some roses scattered. No, wait, it's the female. How do you attract a male? You put a steak and burger down.
Oh shit.
How do you attract the male? Just be a girl. That tends to work.
Oh, right. So we're using D&D player logic. Just be female. You'll get them.
Give it the winky face.
Are we saying that this thing's a virgin like the average D&D player?
Absolutely. Okay, so anyways, to what it does get to keep though, it gets to grab a size category above itself. So as a
Okay.
medium creature, it's grabbing large, and it can swallow creatures of its own size. This has a funny interaction when you think about that one feat that lets it act as if it were a size category larger than that, because then it's a medium creature that can swallow whole large creatures and grab huges.
Well, it's like, have you not seen gulper eels?
Fair. I've seen those. Yeah.
They can like swallow things several times their own size.
Yeah. I often don't remember things like that exist. But fair, that's the thing.
Roanoke could approve.
I don't think Roanoke would approve of this creature though.
No,
Anyways,
he's anglerfish.
statistically, it's not very strong. It doesn't get very strong. Its dexterity starts off at a 15, drops down to a 13, so not much dex. Its constitution is a decent stat. It goes from 12 to 16. Not particularly well statted, but could have some janky, funny shit. Potentially, because of its being able to grab big things despite being smaller.
It's got like the opposite of the stat stick problem, where like the Spino didn't get any of its abilities because they couldn't fit them in because its stats were so high. They even had to start shredding out the sentence low light vision.
I think those were a mistake on the writer's part rather than
Maybe.
deliberately
But my
shredded.
point is, they tried to take this thing's bad fish stats and shore it up with abilities and jank it could do, but you need to put some work into it to make its abilities go support what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
What are you grabbing with those stats? And
The
winning.
dice to roll a new
Realistically-
character.
Not a whole lot. So, as a creature, where
But
should we
yeah.
place the anglerfish?
Fucking hell.
Being generous, let's assume in water. I think I would give it a maybe D, maybe C, because it's got some cute abilities. But well, no,
So-
as an animal companion, it loses that fucking thing to D. It loses
Here's
its
the
like
thing, though.
it's one really nice thing.
Okay, hold on. What animal companion would you take into an aquatic campaign that's neither not a fish nor a flyer? Would you take something that... I mean, do you expect a boar or a bear to... Then again, they've got good strength. They might actually be decent fucking swimmers. Ah!
And,
I
and let's
mean-
also be fair. There's some that aren't that, but they just do. They can swim.
True.
So it's like, and if it can
Snakes.
swim, and with an animal's like it's like Ashley was saying before, a fucking Titanabo would just work.
It has a climb speed, it has the swim speed, it's reasonably fast in both of these. And,
Damn, you're right. A
yeah.
Titanabo would be the perfect multi-purpose thing because even if it's in the water, it just climbs up the side of the boat.
And
Yeah.
even if you're not taking a Titanoboa, like I believe a few of the other snakes also get those things. They just don't have the stats, which just makes them superior fish.
Fucking hell, you're right.
Yeah.
D.
Yeah.
Getting D.
I was mostly just going to pretend that most of those didn't exist. But yeah. Them
Well,
existing does
okay,
kind of
we
hurt
can't-
it.
But we can't pretend the rest of the list doesn't exist because otherwise we're gonna have to go back and we're gonna have to put all the things that we bumped down, put them back up because we are gonna have to take each list separately.
You can... Okay, you can definitely make the argument that certain things are just not appropriate to be an animal companion for a sailor. Like, you're just not going to have a auroch on the boat, or just a giant fucking cow.
Probably
But
not.
there are some other things that are terrestrial that are also suited for aquatics, and then you can't ignore those. Like the Titanoboa and shit like that. Or flyers. Flyers are fine. There's a crow's nest, for God's sake.
And if you really don't want to do anything weird, take that fucking flying snapping turtle,
That's
Uh,
fucking true.
which is
Yeah,
still
that
better
one
than the
exists.
fish. Which is still better than the fish.
That's kind of...
Uh,
that'd be kind of cool, though, to have a pirate with a flying snapping turtle. That's
The
just
wedding
cool, though,
turtle
as
could be
well.
pretty cool.
That's just... Yeah. Armor
So-
fish.
Armorfish. This one can be taken by rangers, which I don't know if that's good for it or relevant at all. It's got a pretty solid natural armor. It's slower than the
Guess worse.
anglerfish, which, oh well. It's got one bite. It's not the most threatening thing. Stats, again, aren't great. It's got respectable constitution going up to 19. That's pretty much all it's got is icon and respectable armor.
I actually have a thought. You know
Yeah.
these aquatic creatures, these fish, these squids, these this?
Yeah.
How the fuck are they supposed to keep up with the boat? Because the boat is much faster than any of these, and they'll get fatigued trying to keep up with it. Do you have to make them live in the bilge when not in use?
I mean, they could absolutely live in the bilge.
I think basically the DM is supposed to hand wave that because if you start taking even that into account, it just makes them even worse.
I was just actually picturing tying a rope off to them and just dragging them behind.
When
It
your
sounds very
shark
unethical.
when your shark accidentally spins around and drowns because the water goes up its gills.
When you drag it across a reef and you accidentally keelhaul your own damn fish.
Whoops. Hey, that might not
Oh
be a
no,
problem
an
for the armor
excuse
fish
to get
though.
a
Look
new
at all
one.
that natural armor.
you keelhaul your armor fish across the reef and there's just a rocky trench plowed straight through it.
I like that you say all that natural armor, and I looked at it and I was like, for a second I had hope, and then I saw like, okay, it's okay, but we've seen
It's
some
not.
many.
It's not turtle natural armor, but it's comparable to most of the list that has decent natural armor. In fact, like,
Let's have a look.
it's mostly just turtles that have more. And that's because turtles are literal turtles.
So your D4 bite attack, quite bad. It scores, quite sad.
Yeah.
It's aquatic. Okay. It's low light vision, standard, sense, standard. It goes up. Okay.
I think its biggest
What's
problem
its
is it
con?
just doesn't.
Its con goes to 19.
It's got respectable con and it's got big natural armor, and that's pretty much all it does.
Okay. It fish tank.
It's a fish tank.
Okay.
Does fish tank go into D because it can't really do anything other than tank?
I say so. It just gets hit. That's the only thing it's threatening with.
That makes sense. Hey, the Bassie.
Bassies. I
So,
love my
the
Bassies.
Bassie, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't actually given the fish shape. It was considered a serpent shape, which is a plus. A slightly better shape. We get the 40-foot swim speed again. Its natural armor is not great. It does at least have 2 attacks. And these attacks do go up to D6s, which not the most threatening thing. Its baseline stats are not good. It's a 7th level
Why-
advancement, but it does get some pretty big boosts, and it gets blind sense.
Why is its base? Why is its base damage so low? The Bassie was sort of one of the. The Basilosaurus was one of the earlier whale hyper predators. These things were vicious and huge.
Yeah, I don't know why they started so low. It's like it starts way lower than it deserves. Like,
I agree.
I will definitely give you that one for free. Its attacks are way too low for what it is.
I think those need a dice step boost. I think if someone in a game I was playing that, I want a Bazzy, but what the fuck's wrong with the attacks? I'd be like, yeah, I'd boost those up to base D6.
Base D6 to D8s, that'd be forgivable.
Yeah.
It does get a respectable amount of strength,
It does.
and its con becomes decent.
Blind Sense ain't bad for briny deep.
So are we looking at D again, or is this one making up to C? I don't think this
That-
one makes it to B.
I think it goes to C because that Blind Sense is pretty fucking good. Its stats aren't incomprehensibly shit, and it's got better slottage than your average aquatic.
Yeah.
That fucking like weak ass bite and tail slap do kind of hurt it, but yeah, I could see it making C.
Well,
It can stat stick well enough. And I think that's kind of the only thing that can really save it, is it will eventually stat stick well enough. Like, I could see it on par with some of these other things in C, potentially. With a big quotation marks there. So we got Camarasaurus.
I just want to point something out to you.
Yeah.
With this thing.
Mhm.
What the fuck is going on with its natural armor? Because this thing is just basically an ammonite that's been unrolled.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna comment on how terrible its natural armor is, considering it is mostly shell.
I'm trying to get Discord to actually. There we go, an image. Yeah. It's not like they were small either.
Yeah, no. I mean, even this one, like, I feel like they almost respected its size. Like, we're looking at medium to large, which is kind of the standard when it comes to big thing, get big. Its natural armor does not well represent what it is. It's kind of slow. It at least can move on land, though. If 5 feet is worth mentioning. It's too fat to carry.
Okay, can we just appreciate that it's got pressure adaptation, but it apparently still needs to breathe despite being Where's this water breathing? It's a fucking squid.
I think this is another one of those mistakes of the it's not giving it aquatic. This is, by the way, an aquatic creature, but they forgot to put aquatic on the stat sheet.
I definitely do like the idea.
But it doesn't.
I do like the idea, though, of this thing hanging out on the ship, because it could just scoople around.
Yeah.
And if you really need it to be somewhere, you just load it into the ballista and fire it ass first.
I love that, but also hate that. It is turn it into the projectile. And also, it has grab, so it could wreak havoc on an enemy ship.
I mean, sure.
Pressure adaptation's not doing anything for it, though.
No.
Like, okay, pressure adaptation means that it's not subject to, like, pressure issues up to depths, like, a mile down.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the wording on it for whatever reason. Stat-wise, I mean, honestly, its stats starting out are actually kind of okay for an animal companion. It's squishy. It's unreasonably squishy. It's got unreasonably low natural armor for what it is. But it can grab monster and constrict.
There is definitely that whole... There are rules, in especially in Skulls and Shackles, for being down too deep and coming up, like the bends and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
This is back to that whole, how do you abuse the water? You grab something and you drag it the fuck down to the place where the pressure's lethal. And even if you let it go and it tries to surface, it's still going to keep dying because there's rules for that.
Yeah, our boy, if he needs to get down deep real quick, he does have jet. So he can do it.
True. He can go vroom.
He can vroom down.
Is being a fast kidnapper enough to save it though, as far as a standard animal companion game plan goes? And I don't think so.
I'll be honest. Like,
I mean, it's got 18 strength.
It's got good strength, and that's...
Its con's bad.
I mean, let's be fair. As cute as the kidnapping is, like, I think it would just be easier for it to spend its turn just constricting and then, like, thing done, because you can just do much nastier things with constrict than waiting for your animal companion to spend the few turns to get a mile down and let someone go.
Yes.
I mean, you don't need to go down a mile, though. 90 feet might be enough. Then again, if they're already in the water, they might be removed from the fight anyway, so... That's a fair point anyways. Yeah, it's not kind of stat line that lets it survive a close-up confrontation, which is kind of a serious drawback. Like, if it had natural armor that's actually representative of its giant-ass shell, it would be pretty good, I think.
Mm.
So where do we want to place it? Is its kidnap shenanigans enough to land it in C? Is it going to D?
So I think at this point, C occupies a place where, yes, we know they're probably bad, but it's got grab, constrict, or some other weird rules. I think C for use case if you end up having to use it. If the DM goes, this is a water campaign, you have to have something aquatic. I think it's C.
When the DM puts a gun to your head and tells you you're basically taking this.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly though, I think actually it's definitely worth a C. I don't think it can make it quite to B, because I don't think it's quite on that power tier as B.
It's not unusable like D.
But it's better than D. Yeah. Alright, so, how about this friendly fellow, the dolphin? It's actually really fast in the water. It slams unthreatening.
Is the Bilgit's dolphin rhymes with Great Cave?
So, it slams unthreatening. We've got very little base strength. We've got an okay amount of base dex. We've got kind of squishy constitution. But we do got all +2s to strength, dex, and con, so it's kind of a dex-based creature. Its strength stays kind of low though, so it's not real. It's not threatening. It's not doing damage. It's not very sturdy as far as natural armor goes. It's not very tanky. It does get actual blind sight out to 120 feet though. So it's kind of doing the scout thing,
It's a scout.
but with blind sight.
It's a really fast. There's also the fact that you can probably grab a hold of it. It uses a little jet ski.
Oh yeah, you could absolutely jet ski off of it.
So, yeah, it does seem like a scout and more of a mobility option for your players. So, okay, this thing. Or even Grab Boy. I think there's a case that we've been forgetting that it's kind of player and ally rescue duty in the water, because if they go over there equally, they might equally be as fucked.
Oh, that's true.
It might have value as a rescue tool. Even the Squid Bro might have value as a rescue tool.
And the Squid Bro can actually, potentially should be able to climb and could actually get onto land if need be. Okay, so is that good enough to actually move Squid Bro up from C to B?
No.
Or should he live in C?
I
Okay.
still think, because of its stats, I think C is just that point of it's got some things it can do really well, even if it's
Yeah.
not necessarily a good combat monster. So I
Okay.
think Dolphin goes in. I don't know. I think Dolphin might be B if you want it as a rescue tool,
Yeah,
because
if
it's very good at it.
It's not a good combat creature, but as a mobility option or rescue, yeah, okay. So you
Or a scout.
I mean,
Yeah.
I still don't think that's good enough for B. I think that would be C because like basically we're saying that it's a rescue rope.
I mean, rescue
don't
ropes
know,
can be pretty valuable.
Yeah, but I just don't see that being B tier.
My thought is that it could out fucking run stuff like sharks and shit that tend to, if there's blood in the water, tend to go into a frenzy and start mauling everything and anything. It will outrun them.
I mean, that is true.
There is yet another. Again, if in an aquatic campaign, there are rules for if there's a pitched battle going on, you just drown in sharks. Which makes the water not only bad, but extra bad. See, high C then. I don't know. I think this is capable of saving a player's life.
I think it is.
This is actually capable of saving someone from just fucking re-rolling because you lost their body to sharks, ripping it to pieces and eating it. And all of his gear sinking to the fucking bottom.
I think that is absolutely true, and that's actually weirdly valuable. I think C is fair.
Okay. Donkey!
The donkey! Alright, so, the donkey has a respectable amount of natural armor. It's actually kind of fast, like at 60 feet. It's got a threatening bite. Its baseline stats are not bad for an animal companion, and that's probably important. We're looking at a base 14 strength and 18 dex. Con being 10 isn't great, but it might have enough natural armor to make up for it, and enough dex to, you know, not get the crap beat out of it. It goes up to large.
It's 22 strength.
Yeah. The bite goes up to 2d6. Now let's talk about the gulp ability real quick, because you probably care about that gulp ability. The gulp gives its grab an additional +2 to, like, successfully grab, and it also makes it a reach weapon by giving an extra 5 feet of reach. And oh yeah, it grabs. So it's actually got it's a good stat stick with grab. And it's kind of crunchy.
I think this might be a B. I don't think this might be a B. I like this. I'd run this.
I think it's pretty good, honestly. Do you have an opinion, Devs?
Not really.
Fair.
I guess it could probably be. Hey, look, it's one of those ones that oddly got like the 1 intelligence when other things got 2.
I mean, it's a really dumb primordial ass fish. What do you want from it?
Most fish are dumb as fuck.
I've got
Like,
a
if we
tank
actually
full of them,
scroll
I
through
can- I
this,
can
you might
tell
notice that there are very few things here that actually manage to have 2 intelligence. Actually, there's a lot more things than I thought. But most of it's 1. Alright, so our boy the electric eel. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this stat line because electricity has something that we've not really ever discussed. So the electric eel, it's amphibious, so it functions on water and on land. It's slow as fuck on land, but it's also small, so you can literally carry it. It's not very fast in the water compared to a lot of fish, but it's kind of a fish. It is given the serpentine shape rather than the fish shape, so that's valuable. Its bite is not the most threatening thing in the world. It's not very strong. It's not particularly dexterous. It has a lot of constitution. It's got a base 18 constitution, so very few things rival it right out the box as far as health points go. It's not rolling a natural armor, so it's kind of just meat. It's very meaty though. It's got a built-in electricity resistance out the gate that goes up to 10, so small amounts of electricity will never bother it. Now, its electricity, it does not have its tail flap, so I'm assuming electricity is tying instead to its bite. Which kind of brings its bite up to a 2d6 with a d6 of it being electricity damage. But,
Actually,
electricity. Yeah?
if you read the stat block, it says it delivers it with a successful touch attack.
Oh. You're right. And on a
Just needs to
crit...
touch 'em.
Oh, that's actually kind of cute. And on a crit, yeah, it's kind of got a ghetto stunning critical.
Alright.
It's a con-based scaling DC, though, and this is one of the few animal companions with a good score for that scaling.
But it needs to crit.
It needs a crit to make that happen.
If it didn't need to crit, this would be great as a handheld fish taser.
I mean, I think it's the best way to use this little bugger as interrogations. You just wrap it around someone's neck like a scarf.
Stop frying. I mean, it's
That's
skulls and
up,
shackles.
that's
That
great.
would definitely be a valid use for it. Talk, where you get the eel. No, not the eel! Crackles ominously in the corner.
So, I mean, I really like this animal companion, to be honest. I don't think
So,
it's very
I'd want-
good. I think it's better used as a weapon, but
Yeah,
I like it.
I'd want to put it in C, but it's that crit. If it had a stun or a daze effect just on hit that was con scaling, that'd make it a lot more usable
Oh.
as a supplement to your.
I
player.
mean, it's a D6. It's a D6 touch attack, so it's basically got a level 1 shocking grasp as an at will.
Yeah. When does that stop mattering, though?
Well, based on the rule of touch attacks, technically speaking, its touch attack could also be applied to its bite, because you can hold
Sure.
you can hold the charge of a touch attack.
I know. Just it doesn't have much. It doesn't really have the strength to have a flat damage backup to it. It's just meat.
It is just a meaty boy. So, is it C tier then?
No,
D?
I think
What?
it's D.
Oof.
We've got that issue with the armor fish. Its job is to take hits. It's not
Yeah, that's
actually
fair.
doing much else.
It does a bit more
Yeah.
than just the armor fish, but yeah.
I mean, if its job is to take hits, it could do the hilarious thing of like readying every one of its actions to electrify whenever it gets hit, though.
Then things are just going to stop hitting it.
I don't know. It's just a D6. I don't think things will necessarily stop hitting it just because.
True. I-
Most things won't be bothered that much by that taser, which is
Look,
kind of also a
I'm-
drawback.
That's why I'm saying it's not a C. Because things
Yeah.
will probably stop caring pretty fast.
Yeah.
Interrogation tool is a funny way to use it, though.
It is very funny too. Very funny.
F tier if used as interrogation tool.
It's your interrogation tool. This isn't the interrogation
Your
tool tier list.
companion.
We'll have to remember that for the interrogation tier list. Alright,
Like-
so, the Gar. Gar look kind of cool. This one's kind of
That-
scoomy, 60 feet.
That natural armor on a gar still doesn't work. I've showed you those videos where the guy have done the catch clean cook on an alligator gar, and they need to pull out bolt cutters to get through its skin.
Yeah, I mean, okay, it goes up to +4. And if you compare what a +4 is, that is like chain shirt tier natural armor.
I suppose.
So that
yeah.
might be reasonable at that point, at 7th level, when it's not soft. It does have actually a respectable strength and constitution, so it's a reasonable stat stick, and it can grab with its bite, and its bite goes up to a d8. It's not as scary as the donkey, so I don't think it makes it into the same tier as the donkey, because it's kind of just donkey but worse.
Yeah.
Then again, this one actually has constitution, though. The donkey didn't.
True, it does get up to 19 con.
So 22 strength and 19 con. It's actually a stat stick. It's got a respectable grab. It might actually be comparable to the donkey then.
It might be in longevity, and its hit point bar, its HP bar might be better than the donkey.
Yeah, it's just the donkey had some natural armor to not get hit in the first place. Hopefully.
I mean, sure, but with with June, it's like, oh, my AC is nearly 50. Does it matter? No.
But the donkey also had that very valuable extra reach on its bite.
It does.
So, would you say that the guard goes up to B tier, or should it live in C tier?
Still a fish. Don't have a neck. Item slot problem. I think it's high C.
High
It's
C?
got more longevity through its hit. It's just bigger, much bigger hit point bar through its con. It's got less bells and whistles.
Yeah.
I think it might be a bit higher just in terms of
It's just a stat
you're
stick.
less worried about it dying. Yeah, it's a stat stick. So I think it's a bit higher.
It's a water-based
It's
stat
got grab. It's got good stats.
Yeah.
It's got fish problems.
The manta ray, speaking of fish problems, it's kind of fast in the water. Its natural armor is okay in the end, not great. It's got one attack that's a tail slap. Its tail slap is not threatening. Its strength base is bad. It has some dex. Its con base is kind of bad. It does have a +8 to strength. It is a 4th level advancement, so it goes to 16, which makes it nice for a baseline animal companion. It's got line since 30 feet. I think this one's probably... I think this is probably D tier. Mostly because it can be a powerhouse in the early game once you hit 4th level, but it doesn't really do anything.
Seems like
I
a
think
worse dolphin.
I think it barely escapes F tier just because it eventually can do something. And it does that thing early enough. Alright.
But yeah, it is kind of just worse dolphin.
Okay, so the moray eel. This is another one that I really like, and I think you guys are going to read Gnaw and like it too. Maybe.
Why does it have so much more natural armor than some of the things that are made of armor?
I don't know. Game mechanics reasons. Honestly,
That's some more.
yeah, I don't know. It's got actually really great natural armor. It's not very fast. It has this cute bite that's actually threatening. Gets grab. Baseline stats are fine for an animal companion. It goes to 22 strength, so that's good. It goes to 16 constitution, so that's actually kind of tanky. And Gnaw is kind of the cream of the crop here. Gnaw, when it begins a round with a grabbed foe, it inflicts automatic bite damage. So that's before it actually maintains its attempt to continue grabbing. So it's got a preemptive constrict. Then it maintains the grab, which means it bites. And then it makes a second bite attack.
It's got its pharyngeal jaws. Yeah, it's got its pharyngeals.
So, based on how the rules work, this thing technically can make 3 bites on a turn where it's grabbing something.
Man, get this thing rapid grappler.
Yeah.
It's just a flurry of blows, but bites.
Now, I don't know how Rapid Grappler would interact with some of these abilities, because the first one is a round start.
Well, it'd allow you to start doing like swift grapple, this grapple, this grapple, but then its pharyngeal jaws will kick in, wouldn't it?
Hypothetically, yeah, I believe so.
So you'd basically be doing your rapid grappler to do damage, and you're getting that additional smaller bite at the end of it, so you're effectively doubling the amount of attacks you can distribute. If you're running... Is it serpentine or fish?
It's a serpentine. It's an eel.
Okay, so you can plug in AMF or other boosts to damage just to carry on just as a vector for that second bite. I think this one's actually quite fucking terrifying. I think this has got some stuff to it. I mean, we had that with Jakuli, didn't we? Like, just put some armor spikes on this fucking thing. That every time you do your attack to grapple, guess what? You've got armor spikes going in too.
Yeah,
And
this
the
thing
fact that you can just go like all in on its bite and it's just gonna keep doing it. You know, I think we might have our first B tier.
I agree.
And it doesn't suffer from fish body. It
Yeah.
suffers from eel body.
I mean, if it wasn't for the
It might-
fact that it's trapped in the water, this thing might actually rival the Titanoboa because it has enough stats to rival it, but also just a much better bite.
Thing is, let's have a look here. That was the octopus I was looking at. What's its land speed? Doesn't have it. Yeah, I'd say if it had some kind of capacity on land, any that you could boost up with like Long Strider or something because you're a fucking druid. If you could actually make this thing do land base, you could hit it with I suppose you could hit it with monkey fish or something. No, that's
Hit it with something like Sky Swim.
yeah. I think with druid support, this might actually be an A, but an A because it has to be supported on land. Otherwise, I think this is a B tier aquatic. This is actually good.
We have our first B tier.
It's not our first. It's sitting next to the donkey. That said, it's
Oh, right.
probably better than a donkey.
It's
Yes.
actually probably better than a fucking donkey.
It's actually kind of a goofy creature because it's allowed to be goofy.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder, again, why is this thing being allowed to do what you expect a Moriel to do? Because they are kind of terrifying entities. But there are some other things that are much bigger, much more armored, much more, primordial monsters that just get shafted.
I don't know.
And it's probably the difference between writers.
I think that's kind of
But-
what it is.
I like this because it's generally accurate to a big fucking moray. They are not underestimatable things.
I still want to rub their stupid cheeks. I want to pet it.
It's got a mouthful of glass, sharp, jagged glass.
I still want to pet it.
Okay, well, it's your hand.
It is. So the octopus.
Octopussy.
So octopus. This one is a small octopus. It doesn't get any bigger than small. It has a 4th level advancement, so that's kind of nice. Speed, it can move on land. It can swim. It's not very fast at swimming compared to a lot of what we've seen, but it does have a fast as fuck jet.
Yeet!
Fast as fuck, boy.
It has a bite. It's a D3, so it's not threatening. And its tentacles
Octopus,
can only
engage
grab.
turbo.
Its tentacles does not do damage, but it does grab. And ability scores. It's got a little bit of strength. Its dex is actually respectable. Its con's actually respectable. Baseline. It has Ink Cloud as an ability. So Ink Cloud we can see on the squid later. Basically, it just creates an area of concealment. It's like once per minute as a free action. And it gains a poison later. And its strength damage. It's a 1 save cure, so that's not ideal. But I mean, it's a poison. And it's actually got an okay constitution to support that poison with. It goes up to 16 con. Strength goes from 12 to 14. Its stats aren't not anything special, but it does do kind of a lot of small things.
I think the problem is because it does so many small things, it doesn't do anything very great.
Yeah.
That's it. I think it's a D, unfortunately.
Yeah, at least it gets to have 2 intelligence, like an octopus should.
Give it 1 more intelligence and make the Gloctopus.
Hell yeah!
That's the ideal way to play it. Make it a Gloctopus. Yep.
You do
You
need
solved
to
it. You
enchant-
figured it out.
You do need to enchant all 7 of its guns, though, to function underwater. There is one of those.
Yeah,
Just
there
put
is.
Shadow Shot in. That way it's just all illusionary bullets and it doesn't have to worry about reloading either.
That
Yeah,
might
but
do
if
it.
you have... It's got 1
Maybe.
hand for reloading, though. 7 guns, 1 reload hand. Get it
Yeah,
down to
but-
a free action.
I mean, you
But why
could
not
you
8
could have
guns?
8 guns though. And all 8 guns will be more threatening than anything that it's doing with its bite or tentacles.
Or 4 muskets.
It's a one octopus firing line.
Honestly, that
Hell
would be
yeah,
threatening.
brother.
That'd be scary.
It would.
And that's ignoring the fact that it's technically not allowed to be doing that, because it can't grasp things with its tentacles, but it should be able to.
What do you mean it can't grasp with its tentacles?
The rules as written.
But
Rules as written, it's not
octopuses
allowed
are
to grasp.
Octopuses
know what
are
an octopus
famous for their
does.
tool use.
I know what an octopus does.
Okay.
Clearly, the Paizo developers do not.
Yeah.
They failed high school fucking biology.
I mean, in a
Which
few
would
places they have.
explain this list.
And they failed Google Foo.
Oof. That's even more condemning. Alright.
Paizo, are you really so isolated in your mother's basement that you don't know how animals function?
I will
What's an
say that
animal?
a Gloctopus with 8 guns would probably be S tier.
I agree.
Check with your
It's not
DM if
S
you
tier,
can
it's
block
meme
with S.
tier.
You're right. Excuse me, I gotta move you guys down one real quick. Gotta
We
make
should
it
have had a meme tier.
We actually really should have. We should have just always had a meme
Yeah.
tier for something that's like meh, but does something incredibly stupid.
We could have
Here
called
it
it the
is.
for the
I
bit
can't
tier.
click it. There we go. You know what? I'm not changing the size of the meme tier. But I'm not gonna move the octopus. I'm gonna just kind of copy and paste the octopus.
Okay.
And is there an icon here that looks like a gun? Close enough. Gloctopus is meme tier. Plesiosaurus.
I want this
So-
to be good.
Okay, so our boy here can actually move on land. Not very fast, but he can. He's got a respectably fast swim speed. He's got respectable natural armor. He's actually got a spooky bite. And ambush attack, which has some rules. So, here, enjoy some rules for ambush attack. Essentially, it's a surprise action. Like, if it gets to bite in the surprise round, it gets an additional d6 points of damage that's basically sneak attack damage. And its bite goes from threatening on a 20 to an 18 to 20. So if it's keened, you can keen with a rapier on, the surprise round. Very narrow use.
I think the biggest problem with it is just the fact that, like, in a surprise round, you're only allowed getting a standard action, and so it's very hard for a melee to just, like, get
Well,
that.
that's not... Okay, so yes, but also you can have... There is a modified charge action for surprise round. You only get to move up to your speed, but you still get to make an attack. So there is a way for it to get it off. It just involves being within 60 feet of a target underwater, or within 5 feet of a target on land.
I would be much happier if this thing actually functioned more like a sneak attack. If you could attack it from concealment
That'd make it a lot better.
or
That'd make
invisibility.
it so much better.
It being tied only to the first surprise round in a fight makes it bad.
Yeah.
Now, an ambush realistically should actually be able to happen if it loses sight and could come around and attack it from an unexpected direction. Like if you
Yeah.
put invisibility on it. That is how that should work.
If it was just
Yep.
sneak attack, it would be so much better, yeah.
Unfortunately, since it's tied entirely to...
If it happens, it's amazing. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter.
And in 90% of the fights, it's not
not
going to
gonna
happen
happen.
because it's you getting fucking jumped.
Oh yeah, it also does 1 bleed damage with its bite.
This could have been a C or B tier, but it's a D tier.
I mean, it still has a scary bite. 2d6 is something you can't really scoff at, and it does have some
Sure,
respectable
okay.
stats.
15, 19 con, 20 strength. Here's the thing though, B tier was sort of reserved for things that do their own thing, like the Morays omni-grabbing, Donkey's souk. Like,
Sure.
does stat stick justify B?
I mean,
think so.
stat stick
not
would
on
mostly
a- not on a
justify B
body
for a lot
that's
of things.
Yeah, basically because
for-
it's stuck in water.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't feel.
Is this thing a fish or a serpentine?
I think this one has a fish.
But it's
Unfortunately.
all neck. It's
I
surprising.
know. I think this one's
Fuck
fished.
me.
Fished. Unfortunately.
Why? Why does something that has got more neck than fucking torso have no neck? Ah.
Because Paizo.
God damn it, Paizo. Come on. Play Ark. Play
All right.
fucking Ark and learn about dinosaurs.
Alright. The giant seahorse. It's actually Cavalier mount option. You know, if your
Okay.
Cavalier needs to swim.
Wait, it starts large.
It starts large.
Okay.
Horse
Big
tier.
fucking seahorse.
Horse tier.
Is it actually just a horse? Okay, it gets 18 strength.
It's statistically a horse.
And it gets... Oh.
I was looking at it. It's horse tier.
It's
a
horse.
fucking horse.
It's literally a seahorse.
It's so... Oh my... I'm flipping my... If I could flip my desk, I just would. Okay, fine.
Alright. So Anchor is not very exciting. I could post it to you guys, but I could also just read this one. It
Go for it.
can move action to grab something, like something solid to anchor itself. And if it's anchored, it's harder to move.
Holds on to boat. That's its dock.
It's
That's
exactly
the
plus
equivalent
4
of
harder
it
to
getting.
move.
That's the equivalent of it getting stabled.
God, it really is, isn't it? Oh my god, they just literally gave you a horse for water for Cavaliers and the fucking Skulls and Shackles.
Well, time to
I
play an
respect-
aquatic elf cavalier.
I respect... Why is he always elves with you?
Because aquatic elf is also amphibious.
God fucking damn it. I hate this
Your
elf
caval-
supremacy. I hate this
Right, you
elf
know.
supremacy.
Alright. So, to the seahorse, it doesn't actually benefit from a lot of horse support, which is what's keeping horse in C tier, and why his horse made it into B tier in the first place. Do we put it in C tier because do we put the seahorse in C tier because of the memes, or does it go to D or F?
It goes down because it doesn't have hooves.
Yeah,
It
it's
doesn't have those.
it's basically horse but worse because of the fact
Yeah.
that it's stuck in water.
Frankly, you could probably just get some horseshoes that give a regular horse a swim speed, and your horse is just a better seahorse.
Probably. Funnily enough.
Like,
And that's
I
kinda
think there's
horrible.
actually just horseshoes for water.
As fun as that sounds, my brain immediately goes, "No, we need horseshoes to walk on water."
Or that, sure. Yeah, they exist. Fuck it.
Alright. Okay. Shark. So, this is not a great white shark. This is probably like your nurse shark or something. It starts small and becomes medium. It's got a respectable amount of natural armor out the gate. It doesn't get any more, but that's probably fine. You got a bite. It's not a very scary bite. You got some stats. They're not very scary stats. At least not at the gate. It's got a respectable stat line for like a baseline animal companion, and it advanced at the 4th level, so it's what it is. You go up to 17 strength, so it's an okay stat stick. Dex goes down from 15 to 13. It doesn't matter too much. Constitution goes up to 17, which is... That's arguably a highlight, because it's reasonably tanky.
Okay, hold on. So if you're gonna be giving a players, you want them to. Why wouldn't you want to give them the badass shark? Why wouldn't you want to give them the bull shark or the tiger shark? Why give them the fucking goofy shark?
Because, I don't have a good reason here. Oh, it also gets blinds in 30. So,
Sure, all
Yay.
sharks have that.
should. Yeah.
Like every single shark has electroreceptors.
Yeah.
It is part of being shark.
I mean, let's be fair. If they gave you a great white shark, they would have absolutely clapped it down to like fucking small and medium, or maybe large, but they would have
Okay.
absolutely just.
Okay,
Right.
but then you've got bull sharks and tiger sharks. There are less things than the fucking scary hyper predator that are still scary.
I think, I'll be honest, I think tigers and bull sharks are scarier than great whites.
They're more aggressive.
That makes them scarier in my book.
Sure. Okay, I mean scary as in fucking enormous.
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't get a great white shark, or even a bull shark or tiger shark, a big scary shark.
We have
What we got was this
garbage
doofy
shark.
boy. I mean, okay, 17 strength and 17 con is okay. It's very okay. If its bite was better, it might be good. Might be. Or good-ish. I think it's probably a D tier shark. I could see it in C tier. Maybe.
I'm just mad at it.
Because it's a small shark and not a big shark.
Because you've got these animal companions, and you've got bears and boars and polar bears and weird, angry dinosaurs that are just all teeth and claws and a billion attacks, and yet we come here to shark, and it's like, we're gonna give him the lemon shark.
Have
He's
a
got
lemon.
funny little things inside of his mouth. It looks like it cat facing all time. Hee hee. What the fuck?
Okay, but where do we place it in the tier list?
I don't care. I'm mad at it. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
I'm gonna
F
stand
tier,
up and
it
get
made you
some more
mad.
vape juice. This shark is just. I'm taking my headset off. The shark has upset me.
That is a
Baby
level
shark.
upset. Baby shark, do. But we have a hammerhead
Exactly.
shark next, which is cooler.
I mean, it doesn't take much to beat the little tiny shark that they just gave us.
What's sad is I think the hammerhead shark is actually weaker somehow.
Alright, Hammerhead, redeem it.
Alright. Hammerhead shark. So we got a 60-foot swim speed, so reasonably fast.
Okay.
Natural armor, it actually gets kind of thick. Like, it goes from 3 to 6. Its bite is better, starting at a D6 to a D8, because it goes from medium to large. Its base stat line is not very good. And its increases are also kinda meh. It has less strength and less constitution than the smaller shark for some reason. This might be an F tier shark, actually.
For fuck's sake.
It might be in the same tier, but I feel like they actually made this shark a little bit worse, because they just didn't give it decent scores.
Alright, F for bird.
F for bird.
Bird's just sitting there all smug, like we could all get pushed up to D at this rate.
I know, right?
Des be there smug going, aha, I knew they were all fucking terrible.
Alright, so the reef snake. So, this one is mostly an aquatic rather than any normal one because it is a ranger option, but it's only a ranger option for the purpose of being an aquatic animal companion because ranger had to qualify that for some reason. With that
Well,
being...
you can't let rangers take something that might be decent. You've got to just shit on them every step of the way.
Yes.
Right.
Unlike the druid master race.
Right, okay. So our reef snake here, it can move on land at the same speed as Cavalier's tortoise. Still too slow to really be useful. It has a swim speed that's okay. And, we got like 2 natural armor. Not an amazing amount, but whatever. We got a bite, and it has poison out the gate.
Is this 1 cure fucking strength damage again?
It starts to have 1 cure strength damage, but the poison actually gets better when it hits 7th level.
Oh, it does. Okay.
With that being said, strength not great. It's a dexterity-based creature. Constitution is not great, and it doesn't get a con improvement. It gets strength and dex improvement.
Oh.
So it's not going to have an amazing DC, but you could support the DC with feats or with a belt or something. It's also a snake and not a fish.
I mean, yeah, it's a snake and not a fish, but damn, they started to write this thing as it started. They're like, okay, we can make this good at level 7, and then the manager came in and said, "No, you fucking won't."
Ah, I see that con bonus that you're sneaking in there. Get rid of that. It doesn't need that. The manager probably would have also nerfed the cured from 2 saves to 1 saves. But hey, it got to keep 2 saves, so if it sticks the initial, it's gonna be hard to remove. Well, hard-ish to remove. It'll stick around for a little bit and be a threat.
Meh.
Where do we play this reef snake though?
It doesn't support what it wants to do by itself. It just doesn't.
F for bird. I think D, honest. No, F might actually.
Like, you're only getting up to Constitution 18. That's not
Yep.
enough to keep up with the DC curve against fort saves, which is the big save of most things.
Let's also be fair. I believe this requires you to land a bite, and you ain't landing shit with that, like,
Weapon finesse it.
terrible. Yeah,
I
you're
mean,
gonna have to weapon finesse your fucking
you've
snake.
got no choice but to weapon finesse the snake.
So
have to
you've got
weapon
to
finesse your snake.
you're gonna get tax feated. Yeah, no. This is D. Maybe even
and-
F.
I mean, like, the only way this is any good is if you take it just so you can fucking milk it.
You could
I'm gonna
milk
say
it
you
and
could
do
have an
alchemist things.
alchemist, but that's
Yeah.
a waste of a fucking class feature at that point.
I mean, so is any of the aquatics. But
Not
Damn.
all. There's been a couple of decent ones. There's
I
the more
mean-
eel.
The more eel and even the donkey coming up in B. I feel like even if you're taking a C tier, you're not wasting the feature because the C tier can be useful. You probably want to be B plus, of course, but
Yeah, like
I mean, that's like
this could
saying
have
your
been
character
good.
can function with a 14 in its main stat. Yeah, it can function.
15 point buy. I see where you're going with this.
Yes.
so D or F because I think that's where we're looking at.
Yeah, it's an F. I think it's an F because it started good, and then anything that it could have advanced up to, and it's a level 7 advance for that shit.
Yeah,
It's not a 4th level one. It's
Oh, I
7.
didn't even notice that.
I think it is better
Wow.
than an F, but I'm not going to argue against it. It's not great.
I think the problem is they looked at that poison and they were like, "Oh shit, yeah, that's a little. We've got to kind of kick this thing in the balls."
We gave it a good poison, so we can't make it stick. We can't let it stick.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, fine.
Alright, so we have a squiddy
Squid.
boy here.
Squid.
It's got
Squid.
actually fast swim speed and a kind of ridiculous jet speed of 240. Its tentacles do some damage and grab, so it's looking up from an octopus there. Its baseline stats are actually kind of fine for a baseline animal companion. 14 strength is usable in the early game. 15 dex is fine. Constitution 11 is a little bit squishy. Essential armor is nothing special. You got Ink Cloud here to arguably give it a little bit more survivability. It's like, or I imagine Ink Cloud, that's the purpose of it is survivability, though there's probably other shenanigans you can think of to use it for. And we've got a +2 con and a +2 strength, bringing it up to 16 strength, which is not very stat sticky. It's not very durable.
So, I know what the issue with this creature is.
Okay.
It was never meant to be an animal companion. This is a monster that you see because squids travel in swarms.
Yeah.
And they would all grab the same thing and just maul it. It's why the Humboldt squid is so terrifying. They travel in packs of 1,000, and if they smell weakness, they will all just jump you.
So a similar story for like the Dimorphodon or the Trudon.
Yeah. Like, this is not an animal companion creature. This is something, you're in tropical waters, you end up in the water or you're exploring something, and then you see a weird shimmering on the horizon, and as you finally figure out what it is, it's 1,000 fucking squid. And you're about to shit yourself.
Alright. I mean, that is kind of spooky. Oh, the fact they plugged it in at medium, it's not terribly small
Hold
either.
on.
So where do we want to place our squid here?
I kind of want to put it in F because it's not animal companion grade. Even its advancement doesn't really do fucking anything to it. It doesn't even make its tentacles a bit better.
It doesn't.
fucking
It
turn
doesn't
them
make
to
it.
a D4.
It doesn't. I mean, the tentacles baseline is a D4.
You know what I mean? A boost up.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's absolutely usable, which is why I'm hesitant to throw it in F, but it's also just not great.
I
Alright.
legitimately think that is a creature you encounter. It's got nothing to do with animal companions.
Won't argue that. Anyways. So, let's see if we feel better about the giant squid.
No.
Alright, so we're looking at starting medium and goes up to large. It's a 7th level advancement,
Oh.
so of course.
Well, look, its description. It isn't nearly the size of a true giant squid, but it's large. Oh, fuck you, Paizo. We don't do this again. Don't rub it in.
A 90-foot jet, so it's got a smaller jet than some of the other things, but it's still scoom. Bite and tentacles, we got a D6 and a D4. Grab, and they do scale up when it gets bigger.
Oh,
Baseline, we're looking at 12 strength, dex 15, and con 13, so not astounding stats, but we get a +8 to strength, and con
Right,
goes at 17, so reasonably durable.
do you see what I mean about its 7th level advancement actually doing something?
Oh yeah, no. Most of the 7th level advancements do something.
So,
Something.
we have the squid, which is takeable in the same pool as the giant squid. The giant squid is just generally better as a all-around combat creature. This is what you should be taking. The regular squid is not an animal companion. This is.
I mean, the giant squid I think is an all-around better creature, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. This is kind of the issue. Like, why create a creature? Why bother wasting the print and then just making the same creature but better?
I don't fucking know.
You know, it would be like taking cat and then just making cat giant and just doing everything better.
But
it's like one of those situations where it's like, oh no, these are both intended to be animal companions. One's not intended to be a familiar.
I think it is absolutely a case of the different writers.
I mean,
you've got
yeah.
the dumb ones and the worst ones.
But yeah. We also got a 20-foot radius ink cloud, which is much bigger than the previous one as well.
I think that these creatures that have ink cloud should actually have the ability to detect things and work with their own ink cloud. Because
That
they're
would
also
help.
blinding themselves.
They are blinding themselves.
But anyway. Like, you know, it's the whole... Okay, so let's... Hypothetically, you have a giant squid, right?
Right?
And you're in combat. And shit's going down in the water. The giant squid blurps out the ink cloud. And it has blinded a bunch of sailors that are either trying to aggress it or maneuver around in the water to get back on the ship. The squid has blinded itself as well. Now the fucking sharks that are down there with their blind sense and their electrolocation, they don't care. The squid's just made his own life harder.
So, I mean, I think the ink cloud is kind of still functioning the same way that it does in nature as an escape tool.
Yeah, but if
You basically blind a group of enemies, and then you leave, because concealment will protect you.
Right, but that's not what a player wants out of their animal companion.
Maybe not.
I
That
just
said,
feel
I
like
can think
they
of...
should have their own means.
I can see of tactical places where it's actually useful. Like, let's say you're in the middle of a rescue operation trying to save someone who's being hassled a distance away. Well, Squid can jet in, drop an ink cloud, and now everyone there is blind. Which means that that person is going to have a much better chance of surviving.
Does it count as a fog cloud?
It's
What does it count as?
It's a total concealment cloud. It's not a fog
Okay.
cloud, it's just total concealment in the area.
I guess. I don't know. I don't like its big special quality being something that's an equal detriment to itself when its things are
Well,
getting nasty.
If that's the case, consider its big special quality the fact that it's also still a grab constrict monster.
I suppose.
Hypothetically speaking, if you've actually already grabbed a target that you want to constrict, if you wanted to use the Ink Cloud in a quote-unquote offensive defensive way, grab your target first,
And then spray cloud.
and then
Then
spray.
no one's coming to him.
Because
No
anyone who's
rescue
trying
coming.
to come assist is going to have to find this giant squid and this 20-foot block of ink, while your boy inside the cloud is just being constricted to death.
Assuming that the people that are trying to help this person don't also have access to like aquatic animals, that a lot of them seem to just have blind sense.
I mean, sure, yeah. I mean, haven't we already covered that a lot of the animals kind of suck?
Yeah. And it's why I'm refusing these defensive maneuvers you're attempting to try and make them sound better.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Des here. Especially because if you're in the doing whatever with Skulls and Shackles and the shark swarm shows up, they're not going to be the shit sharks that we've seen. They're going to be
Yeah,
the
you're not
actual
wrong.
nasty sharks.
Oh yeah, the monsters.
Yeah, they're going to be the thing that your shark wishes it was.
Well,
We
In
have
any
shark
case,
at home.
I think our giant squid is at least comparable to the Camarasaurus in C tier,
Sure.
but probably also just better.
It's probably better. It's higher than it. It's high C. Sure. Well, would it be a low B? It's not bad. I'm just
It's not a
annoyed
bad
about-
creature. It's a grapple monster
Yeah.
that can protect itself
Let's
in
go
a
high
weird
C.
way.
Fuck it.
Okay, so Stingray. So we got another poisony boy. Does dex damage instead of strength damage.
Okay.
It's got its one sting. Its constitution doesn't start great, but it does go from 13 to like a 15. It's kind of eh. Strength is
Goes to 10.
kind of pathetic.
Its dex goes backwards.
Yeah. Let's not forget that it goes from small to being medium as well, which is also kind of a detriment for it in this case, because, you know how you were talking about how the snake didn't support itself?
Yeah.
This is a lot like that, but worse. Its poison is technically good. It hits 2 stats, which is probably why they neutered the rest of the stat block.
You know what? Between everything that they did wrong with this thing and the fact that these killed Steve Irwin, F tier.
You've
Alright.
just triggered generational trauma of a bunch of people of a certain age, and I'm one
Yeah.
of them.
Yep, same.
Oof.
I like that Ashley didn't even argue. She just put it right into F tier.
Killed Steve Irwin straight to hell.
You're right. F tier's not good enough.
We're all gonna look at this fucking blue whale. We've had this conversation about the blue whale, Ashy, where it comes out medium and goes large, but a newborn blue whale is probably already a fucking large creature. What stunted runt is this?
I knew that was going to come up. And I have no way to defend that. It's small.
Well, I mean, come on. It's the exact same thing as the rock or the giant squid. They might as well have just added in the description here of this is not the actual size. But this
It's actually
is
a
the size we're giving you,
smaller
players.
species of whale that resembles the true one.
So anyways, we
It's
got
a
an 80
mutant beluga.
So anyways, we got an 80-foot swim speed. So that's a nice amount of speed. Its natural armor is lacking. It's got 1 attack and it's a tail slap. So it's at
Okay.
least a primary natural attack. And it's got a nice base of like D8 to 2d6.
Yeah.
Strength starts kind of bad, but it starts with a lot of dexterity. Constitution
It's a
starts
very,
really low.
very. Yeah. Okay. A blue whale. The giant hulk of meat and baleen.
It's not very tanky for some reason.
I love its dexterity. This thing's gonna be doing pirouettes on the water.
Yeah. You're gonna see a theme, I think, with the whales.
I think they gave it the dolphin stat block by mistake.
Look how graceful it is. Whale noises.
So yeah, you're gonna see a theme with the whales. At least they go up to 19 strength, so it can kind of stat stick. Its dex stays pretty good. Its constitution doesn't become amazing. Yeah, constitution doesn't become amazing. I don't have anything further to say on that one.
Tiny blue whale becomes obsessed with his gargantuan but averagely sized girlfriend.
You know, honestly, that sounds like a great meme. So where should we place this boy? I think it's stat sticking well enough to go into D, maybe C.
It's got a decent stat block. It's not representative of whale, but it's got a 2d6 primary, which I think is C. Like that is a best. That might be bare bones what we expect out of any animal companion.
Probably.
It's still waterbound.
It is.
It's
absolutely.
a whale, and in a water scenario, it's the standard average of what you might want out of something that just goes slap something.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of its 14 constitution.
Me neither.
What
So
do
speaking
we
of-
That's animal companions in general.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like the dex and the strength, like as dumb as it is, they should have been swapped.
Easily.
I mean, it's
Like-
like the ferry, where it started with like no strength and a shitload of dex. As it matured, it's swapped. I mean, it's doing the Therizinosaur thing.
Yeah.
But
The Therizinosaur also did it better.
did it better?
Yeah.
This-
Alright, so next up we have a Narwhal. The Narwhal.
Now.
Narwhal! It's as fast, it's as natural armory, and its stats are pretty much you might see a bit of a pattern here, like I said. Regardless,
It's got whale stats. Okay.
you got this bite here. It's a D6, so that's not exciting. It goes up to a D8, so at least you can 2D6 it with a feat, but whatever that is. You see the same stat adjustments. 19 strength, still respectable. 17 dex, actually respectable. 14 con, still squishy. This one does have blind sight out to 120 feet, though.
Mm-hmm.
Narwhal.
Which is something that the blue whale for some reason lacks. Oh, and we have this special little tusk charge thing. Where
It's a cavalier.
It can charge something and stab it with its horn instead of biting, which is a more respectful 2d6 plus twice its primary attack damage modifier, which will probably be strength. And times 3 critical multiplier, so its charge has a lot of details.
So unfortunately, there's not a set of brackets with a C in it.
Yeah, I know, right?
If only the Cavalier could have this, and probably make good use of it.
The Cavalier would probably enjoy this. Unfortunate.
When your druid picks this as their animal companion specifically to synergize with the cavalier.
I mean, there's definitely something you could do there.
Mhm.
It'd feel bad donating your class feature to the Cavalier, but
I mean,
fuck, if the Cavalier on the water campaign might fucking need it.
well, I
I
mean,
mean,
the
you
Cavalier
said-
could be a. So hear me out. What if the Cavalier went for the Arctic that lets them have any animal companion for their mount? Then again, they could just take the Narwhal at that point.
Yeah, they could just take a fucking narwhal.
They could just take the Narwhal at that point. I was gonna
Yeah.
go into the and then they swap with the Druid. They functionally trade animal companions.
Trade bonds. Fucking hell.
Not clearly the only choice is seahorse.
I think that's when the DM comes over to you with their book and starts beating you both to death.
Literal throw the book at them.
Yeah.
Okay. So that goofiness aside, where should Narwhal be placed? Should it live next to the blue whale? Is it better than the
I think
blue
it's
whale?
a C. I think it is better than a blue whale. It does more, and it's got this neat little bit of synergy that it could be doing with a cav.
Yeah.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's probably a better option for a Cavalier in a Skulls and Shackles or something campaign. It's actually a good Cavalier mount.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Just that charge.
It's a very cool charge. Also, yeah, if you can get that to crit, that's hilarious.
This is unironically a good Cavalier mount, but it's very well coded. Being a whale.
Yeah, it's very
being
well
a much
flavored.
smaller species of the blue whale, but despite being on fucking par with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we got Shamu here.
Wow. I'm disappointed just looking at it with a quick glance.
Yeah. So, it's, so, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. This is Narwhal, but worse.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't get, it's basically a Narwhal without the tusk.
It's a blue whale with blind sight.
It's a blue whale with blind sight, but a worse attack. Will we say this is on par with blue whale seal?
Because orcas are supposed to be killer whales and are super, like, fucking popular and everything, and they just, like, kick this thing in the balls.
Okay, the narwhal exists. This now has no reason to exist, so we're putting it in F.
Oof. Oof.
Yeah.
I feel like that one's harsh, but okay. So, that's the bottom of our list. What do you guys think?
Aquatics made me angry.
Aquatics made you angry?
It kind of annoyed me.
That's fair.
How they got fucked on type. Body type.
They did.
They got fucked on stats. Like, why are they so bad? They've got such inherent limitations on them, especially with itemization that other things can just have, that they should be allowed to have the bigger stats that more really represent what they are. They actually should be allowed to be more accurate than their terrestrial counterparts because they've got so many limitations, which really should be freeing up their CR to have more stuff pumped into them. Like, you're on land, you have, I don't know, your nerfed fucking dire polar bear or whatever, because you can throw in all the items more or less on them. What with these limitations of being fish shape, can't wear this, can't do this, can't do this, can't go on land, why couldn't you have and break the mold and be allowed a huge animal companion with the whales to make up for that? And then you can have the big fucking whale surfacing by the boat, it's near the size of the boat, and then your druids riding on top of it going, sup, this is my cruiser. And that would just make everything so much better, so much smoother, and so much more fun, considering that you're kind of eating shit because you're a druid in the water.
I agree with you, yeah. Very easy.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think that these should be allowed a lot more leeway in what their stat blocks allow.
It's like, when I basically asked for leeway in judging them at the beginning of the video, yeah.
I would have given them leeway on their typing and all of their limitations if Paizo hadn't been cowards and had just been like, you know what, we're gonna just fucking pump these up.
They needed pumping. They absolutely needed pumping.
Like, it's not our job to give them the benefit of the doubt and try and make excuses for them. It's for Paizo, the authors of the mechanics, to go, all right, there are too many limitations on this and these problems. We should fix it by just allowing them to be bigger and beefier and more accurate to these large aquatic animals. And then they can pull their weight. Their job to do that.
Like, I still think the most annoying line that was said during this whole thing is when I was saying, oh yeah, you could Titanoboa, and then Ashley had said, oh yeah, I was just trying to pretend that didn't exist. Like, yeah, but that's just unfair.
Well, no, it's because I was pretending that the entire list before it didn't exist. Because I was judging this entire list on its own merits.
Well, and
separately.
That's the problem. We either would have had to judge all of the lists separately and then done one super list, or just gone by the fact that, like, no, we cannot pretend the other things aren't an option. Because in an aquatic campaign, you still have everything as an option.
Yeah.
Now, I'm definitely going to judge that person who decides, yeah, I want to take an elephant in Skulls and Shackles, but...
Here's the thing, they've got enough fucking strength that they can be decent swimmers. Elephants in nature are actually excellent swimmers. As weird as that
yes.
is, they float. They're buoyant. They're good at it. This is the thing. Hell, there's camels camels got to new fucking landmasses by swimming across shallower stretches of ocean. Turns out camels are semi-aquatic. Or orcas that eat moose. Moose, semi-aquatic. Moose
I mean,
are
the
just
natural
mammalian
predator-
spinos.
Moose aren't aquatic. They're just too angry to let the water stop them.
Same thing. Determination means a lot.
The natural
That's-
predator of the moose, the orca.
The orca! That's fucked up. It's just...
Because everything on land has common sense, doesn't want to fight the fucking moose.
damn fucking straight. I don't wanna. I think, actually, that if it ever comes to an aquatic campaign point, back to Skulls and Shackles, if anybody decides they're going to be having an animal companion, we probably need to just look at animal companions and how they're allowed to exist. And maybe implement the fact that they're allowed to start up at bigger sizes or do some tweaks just to make it usable, because then no one's going to want to use it. It's just going to be a dead spot. But having a storm-based druid that's the navigator and can fuck with the weather, because those are also big mechanics, it kind of makes sense to make it more appealing to have your animal companion be good. That's what I think. I think if it ever
Yeah.
comes to needing to actually utilize these, we should have a look at them and start moving numbers.
I mean, I think some of these still stand pretty well on their own merits. Like, that Moray eel's kind of nonsense. But
I mean,
that's an outlier in this list.
yeah, but it's got the serpentine benefit. It's like it's not a fish.
Yeah.
It's not a fucking fish. Which is where where a lot of these problems start. That's what I think, anyway.
Yeah, they kind of did fish dirty. I think they also did snakes dirty. They did several things dirty. Anyways,
Yeah.
I think that's our thoughts then.
You have any Des anymore?
That proper tiering for that fucking stingray.
In the bin with Ranger, voided.
No, because at least Ranger didn't kill someone beloved.
No, it just kills your desire to play the game because you're a Ranger.
I don't know. They classified Dritz as a Ranger, and he's considered the edgy boy that everybody wants to be. And then when you look at his stat block and see he's like one level of Ranger, he's actually everything else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of these characters from the old D&D times were like that. Like Elminster was the Gandalf thing. Gandalf himself is like wizard rogue. No,
Fighter.
yeah, he's wizard rogue fighter and then archmage propping it up. Same with Elminster. He's like 3 classes an archmage.
Yeah, but at least he's 20 levels of wizard, so you can say he's basically a wizard. In Dritz, they always call him a ranger, but he's fucking like 1 level of ranger and mostly fighter and barbarian.
I think it's a
Barbarian.
descriptive. I think it might be descriptive ranger rather than class ranger.
Yeah.
You know, he's the survivalist guy.
And the reason that they gave him barbarian was because of all of the like when he was alone in the Underdark and he had to rely on just instinct and anger to survive.
Same. that is some commentary on society we live in.
You know.
All right, it's probably time to wrap up.
Yep.
Yeah, all right.
Well, if you guys enjoyed, consider subscribing, consider leaving a like, maybe comment, and yeah, bye.
Ciao.
Bye.